Let's do it.
Hello and welcome to the Week 9 preview episode of the Jefferson My Drinks Fantasy Podcast, the pod on a mission to normalise 8-team leagues. Yes, that's right. It's almost Week 9, which means Week 8 is out of the way, thank God. I'm Pete McManus. I'm the host. And I'm joined by Alan Monk and Ian Harrison. Good day, lads.
Evening.
Good
Right,
evening.
Alan.
Almost called you Alan then. I don't know where that came from.
Alan.
Alan!
I was reading your name as I said it. I don't know who's Alan. How are we, boys? All right.
Yeah, all good, yeah.
Did you make
Yeah,
it
not
through
too
Week
bad.
8 in one piece?
No, I've had a shocking week.
I've not been that bad. I've lost in our two main leagues, which is really disappointing, especially one of them was to you, Pete. But I've also had a lot of wins. But I suppose that's what happens when you're in about 90 leagues.
Yeah. You were always going to lose to me, mate. I've got Breece Hall and Jonathan Taylor at running
I know.
backs. So
Do you know what's
that's
the
all it
worst
took.
thing is? I saw. I think it was on. Was this Friday morning? I had a look at your team and I was like, "Oh, if Breece Hall's out, he only gets 1.8 for Jordan Mason on the auto sub," and I was like, "This will be great." I mean, it's hopefully it's 0 points, but 1.8 isn't that bad. It turns out to be 37.5 points or something like that.
I'm glad I won that game. I'm glad I won, or I would have, if you'd have beat me, I'm glad you didn't beat me by 10, because just before kickoff, I took Tua out of my lineup and put Justin Fields in, which it didn't work out
Wasn't
too
that
bad, but there was a 10-point difference. And it was all
Yeah.
because I'd heard that Tua had an eye injury, and apparently playing with one eye makes him better. So I was like, what's going on here? 1 quarter in and he's throwing touchdowns left, right, and centre. Should we start with Breece Hall and more specifically the Jets overall?
Well.
Do you want to move? Do you want
Brilliant,
to just
wasn't he?
gloss over it, Ian? Or
There's not really anything to gloss over because we're back to where we are last season, where we're scoring 38, 39, 40 points and still losing games. Like how's that Taylor still has a job? How Al Golden still has a job? How Duke Tobin? Yeah, how AI Golden is still
AI
there.
Golden would be doing a better job at this point.
I know.
And then if it's a personnel issue, then you need to be looking higher. You need to be looking at Duke Tobin that drafted all these clowns. We've got what is, I can only describe as the worst front four in the league. We cannot create any pressure on the quarterback, even when Trey Hendrickson plays, and he's been playing banged up, so I can let him off a little bit. But we're just not doing anything up front, and we're just getting
Demetrius
destroyed.
Knightson's a decent player, though. From what I've seen,
he's not up front. He's
no.
He's our linebacker. I'm talking about our front four, our D line are just atrocious.
I mean, it's not been great for a few years, and rather than addressing it, you went and spaffed half of your salary cap on 3 players. Like, it wasn't ever going to be great, was it?
Well, we tried addressing it in the drafts. We drafted Miles Murphy first round. We drafted Shamar Stewart first round.
Yeah, but sometimes you just need a savvy vet coming in. Like, if you look at, and I know it's completely different, but if you look at what the Eagles have done, they got that Zach Bourne, who everyone was like, he's all right, like he'll do a job, and they turned him into an All-Pro last year, and he got Defensive Player of the Year votes. Like, these players that you can pick up where they've maybe had a few injuries and they've been serviceable, but once they stay fit, the better. Like, we had Blake Cashman who went to the Vikings, and he got paid, I think, something like 12, 13 million a year to be the linebacker at the Vikings. Like, I just think it's been really poor. Like, you didn't really address it, and rookies take a lot of time.
I agree with you.
Sorry.
But you've got to be able to coach them. So the Eagles are a perfect example, as they can bring somebody into what is already a well-run unit and a really good unit and coach them up. because
Yeah.
you're not relying on those individuals. Whereas I feel like the Bengals are, for me, it's more, as much as I know about it, is more coaching than it is player. The players can't be that bad. It's got to be.
Well,
I think
it's 100%. It's like if you look at our defensive coordinator last year, Lou Anarumo, where's he now, Pete?
So the Colts.
Yeah. How's the Colts defense looking this year?
I mean, to be fair, they're hardly ever on the field because the offense is always on scoring points. But
which player led the Colts in tackles this week?
Grover Stewart.
It was Jermaine Pratt. Where was Jermaine Pratt last year?
He was at the Bengals, wasn't he?
Who let him go? The Bengals. It's just we're a joke from top to bottom.
Yeah.
It's the players and it's the coaching and it's the back office or the front office. They're just making mistake after mistake. But we try and fix it in the draft. We didn't take an offensive player until the 5th round this year.
Yeah, but you also
so we are trying to address it, but we just can't coach it.
I get what you're saying, but there's also you've got to have veterans in there. You can't just rely on rookies. What's the saying? Kids never win anything. Like at some point you got and the thing is, even one player, Logan Wilson's the other one who's a good player, but I think Logan Wilson is why I've noticed
BJ Hill, Geno Stone.
Geno Stone's not been good for 2 years.
He's been good this year.
He was good. He was good. He was good at the Steelers, but he's not. Yeah, Steelers won it. Yeah, but he's not been good for the Bengals so far. I thought Battle was a decent pickup, and he's not made a jump yet. Like there is an element of the coaching, but I also think you've got to have veteran presence. To you look at the Eagles, Zach Bourne goes to the Eagles. He's got a defense that is well structured, and they all know the jobs and everything like that. There's nothing like that for the Bengals. It's Trey Hendrickson trying to rush the quarterback, and it just looks so disorganized a lot of the time, and you just can't stop anything. You can't stop the pass. You can't stop the run. It's just
to be honest, we actually started against the Jets quite well. I was quite impressed. We got to half time and I thought we've nailed this. But then a stat came out after the game. There's been 9 times this season that the Bengals have had to defend a drive having had the lead. Of those 9 drives, 6 have ended in a touchdown, 2 have ended in a field goal, and 1's ended in a punt. So it's our 4th quarter defense that is killing us.
Yeah.
So is it a concentration issue? Is it the fact that the coaches are just switching off?
Get some Gatorade in you.
Because they're all right for 3 quarters. And then last quarter, tools down, job done. See you later.
You made Justin Fields look like a legit quarterback.
He always has been a legit quarterback. I stand by that.
I think he might have been better if Tyrod Taylor had been all right, to be honest. So, yeah, 500 yards to the Jets. But congratulations to Jets fans getting off the floor. 0-7 is not a nice place to be, is it?
Yeah, well done, guys.
And that, to be fair, that division's a mess, mate. So you're still well alive. You're still very much alive. There's no other year where you would have been alive in the AFC North, but here you are.
When we get beat by the Bears this week, and then our season's done.
That'll be interesting. An interesting game because I don't know. The Bears fall into that category of nobody really knows who they are. While we're on the AFC North, I didn't see Steelers Packers game, but they had absolutely no right winning that game. I know they didn't, but they would have had no right winning that game wearing that uniform.
It's horrible, isn't it?
The Steelers seem to go the opposite of everybody else. Everyone else in the league is bringing out new uniforms, and everyone's going, "Oh, that's nice, that's nice." They're like, "How can we bring out the worst looking kit that anyone's seen since that Bumblebee thing that we had 20 years ago?"
In fairness, it's miles better than the Bumblebee one.
I'm not sure. I think it's right. I think it's right.
It's miles better than the Bumblebee one. At least trying to do something like off-piste. And to be fair, when I first saw it, I thought, that's not too bad. And I saw Aaron Rodgers wearing it. I'm like, no,
it's not good. Just come out, just go. I mean, I know they already have a black uniform, but just do a different black uniform. That's what everybody else in the league's doing. You don't have to mix it up and be different. Texans won again, H.
Never doubted them.
Good win.
Never doubted them once last week.
Didn't come on here and write them off at all, did you, last week?
No. It was brilliant. I watched the whole game. We had possession for 43 minutes, I think it was 44 minutes. Like it was just absolutely top to bottom brilliant. Defensively, just amazing. That is our weapon. That if we're going to make it to the playoffs, it is because of the defense. The offense looked really good because we weren't just trying to throw 50-yard Hail Marys to Nico Collins every play. Interesting stat
He
as
was
well.
holding you back.
Yeah, interesting stat. That game was the first game that we haven't given a sack up since I think week 4 of 2023, which is incredible. So yeah, just really good. CJ was good. He moved the ball well. He moved the pocket well. The play calling was brilliant. And Jalen Noel looks like a really solid player. Like I think he could be the one of this draft that we go, that was the Texans' best player.
Is that sack stat on your O-line improving or the 49ers defense being banged up and not particularly good?
Probably a bit of both. I think it was one of the lowest pressure ratings that CJ has faced in the league since his rookie year as well. So it's probably a bit of both. But we used a lot of 6 offensive line concepts this week, which we haven't for a few weeks, in order to protect CJ and let the receivers get to where they needed to be. There was a play, I think it was 3rd and 9, and CJ manipulates the pocket a little bit. Sort of, it wasn't quite a sidearm throw, but it was a little bit slingy to Xavier Hutchinson, and it was one of them where if Nico Collins was on the field, we'd probably just go long, whereas this was a really well-designed play. Hopefully we start using those players, and also the rookies. The rookies have had the most explosive plays of the Texans this year, so it was a good game, real tough game this week, which we'll get onto in a bit. But nothing quite beats Jonathan Taylor, does it?
Sorry, before we go on to JT, I just think on the Texans, I thought your game plan was brilliant against the Niners because you're playing against someone like CMC. The only way to mitigate that kind of danger is don't let him have the ball.
Yeah.
So you wait
8 times.
8 carries. He had three receptions on 6 targets, but you let Woody had 11 carries. Nick Chubb had 17 carries. So there was a clear movement there to go more ground attack, especially if you're playing 6 O-linemen as well. And you just ate up the clock and just took the opportunity for CMC away, which was good.
Yeah. It was impressive. But not as impressive with Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, you got 1 minute and that is all we're going to limit you to.
You want to talk about the MVP?
I'm sick of writing 3 touchdowns next to his name every week.
All I'm going to say is the last non-quarterback to win the MVP. I'm assuming you know who this was, 2012?
I should know who it is.
It was Adrian Peterson.
Adrian Peterson, yeah.
Who had a total of 2,314 yards, which is absolutely nuts, and scored 13 touchdowns. Now, at current rate, Jonathan Taylor's not quite up to that. He is going to get to 2,244 yards if he keeps the current rate up, but he will score 30 touchdowns. So I was like, if he carries on like this and gets to that level and they don't give him the MVP, it'll be shocking. I don't care which quarterback's playing well at the time. None of them are playing well enough.
This goes back to my point a few years ago that I made about Saquon and Jonathan Taylor when they were trying to get their new contracts. If your offense is designed around one running back, you should pay them way more. Like you look at what you've done there. Jonathan Taylor's on $12 million a year. That is less than your 2 wide receiver, your wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, and your quarterback. But yet he is the offensive player. Like for me, this is what I was saying when I was talking about Saquon and talking about Taylor getting bigger contracts, is because they actually are the offense. Like if you take Saquon out of the Giants team at that time, there was nothing left.
Yeah, They are. I mean, just to wrap this up, because we are right at the end of the quarter. Did you see the hole that our offensive line opened up for him? They basically moved the entirety of the defense to the sidelines and just went, "There you go, Jonathan. Run through that."
Yeah. Ridiculous.
Right. Fantasy game day. I'm excited about this because I don't know how it went. H, you picked the captain. We gave you a little bit of stick for spending 7,000 on the captain, but you picked James Cook on a career day. He ran for more yards than he's ever run for in his entire life. 19 attempts for 216 yards and 2 touchdowns. Didn't get any receptions. Didn't need any receptions. Second game on a trot, he's not even had a target, but he doesn't need him if he's going to keep running for 200 yards. So I'm assuming with that as a captain, we pushed on and won loads of money.
We did.
We did win.
Money. Yeah. So yeah, as you guys know, I was actually top of the leaderboard for quite a while. I also had Saquon in the 6 o'clock games, who racked up 33 points for me as well. But I actually ended up finishing 7th because I didn't have JT in my team. Loads of other people will have done, so he got 3 touchdowns. So yeah, Captain Cook got 67, Saquon 33, Achane 20, Flacco 24, and then I had Rashad White, who only got 8. Noah Fant as my tight end, got 7. And then I had to cheap out on my receivers because you can't have James Cook and Saquon and Achane and not pay a price somewhere else. So Sterling Shepard got me 1 point and Ayomana got me 9, which I'll take 9 for Ayomana. Yeah. He's only 2,500. So finished 7th out of 93 and won 19 quid, just over 19 quid. First win of the season.
I feel like Sterling. Well done, mate. I feel like Sterling Shepard has been doing the same thing for his entire career. He's like, I just has little games here and there where he comes up with it, and then when people go down around him and you go, "Now's your time to shine," he's like, "Nah, that's not me, thanks."
Not today, lads.
No, that's I'm more of a wide receiver 3 who just has like the occasional game when you don't expect it.
I don't need that pressure, guys.
Yeah. Right, we are recording Tuesday night, so the game day captain is not the sheet's not out yet.
No,
captain's on you, Ian. So we'll put that on socials.
Yeah, when we'll do that tomorrow when it comes out,
and then I'll do the team, and we'll let you know how we get on next week. If you want to play game day, use our code which is JMDFS, and you'll get a free game. I almost give out our social handle every time I do that. So.
Every time.
Every single time. Right, selection nightmares. Let's start with yours, H, because yours is quite interesting. So last week yours was Mark Andrews against, I can't remember his first name, Gadsden, and I think we both told you to steer away from Mark Andrews and go with Gadsden, and that was the right decision. So Gadsden scored 18 points. Mark Andrews only scored 6 because that's what Mark Andrews does. So, who have you got for us this week?
I've got a nice fun one where I've got Jake Ferguson, who hit massive zeros this week, and I won't get onto the Dak Prescott rant that I could have had, or Deebo Samuel versus Seattle, which is a tough place to go. So, Jake Ferguson versus the Cardinals, or Deebo Samuel versus Seattle Seahawks.
Do you want to go first, Pete? Or?
I mean, I can do. I think we might agree on this, but because I know you're a Jake Ferguson fan, but for me, this is Jake Ferguson. I think McLaurin's back now. Deebo's going to put up good numbers if he plays, but that Ferguson game was just a blip. And back at home, I think the Cardinals game will be high scoring. The Cowboys defense is kind of on the same level as the Bengals defense, so even the Cardinals will pull points. But I think at home, Dak will go back to. He had a bad game, and I know you'll have had him in a few teams, which won't help. But I mean, that's a bad game off the back of 6 straight really, really good games. And I think Jake Ferguson has got a pretty safe floor going into this week.
Yeah, I mean, you already said I'm a massive Jake Ferguson fan. I have tried to stay impartial on this one and go with the stats. Like Ferguson's averaging 15 points a game, playing against the Cardinals D, they're 7th worst against the position. Debo's averaging a point less. He's got a tougher matchup with the Seahawks being bang in the middle of the league with regards to defending receivers. And yeah, like Pete said, with McLaurin coming back, Debo's production should get eaten into, especially around the red zone. Jaden Daniels being back is obviously a big help, but the Seahawks are massively in need of a win. They're 5-2 in their league. The Rams and the Niners both also have five wins. And I think the Seahawks are going to come out, try and make a statement, and try and get a grip of their division. So I'm leaning Ferguson.
Is Jaden Daniels definitely back?
I'm assuming that he is.
Is Joe Milton not starting for the Cowboys because Dak is crap?
I hope so.
Crap?
I hope so. I love Joe Milton.
Oh man, I honestly the one week I trust Dak Prescott in so many leagues, he goes and just spaffs everywhere.
It would be funny though. Out of all the weeks you could have picked away at the Broncos, it's not where like one of the best defenses in football. It's not where I would kind of go, do you know what? This is the week I'll start Dak Prescott. Not next week.
It wasn't that. It was the fact that I had quite a lot of quarterbacks out.
Well, there you go.
This week on buys. It is Dak's fault because I decided to trust him and he spaffs it.
Leave Dak
alone. Let's move on.
Well, for my sake, because I've got quite a bit of Dak, so for my sake, can you just drop him? Never play him again.
Yeah, not a problem. This is exactly why I hate Dak Prescott. Like every time you start going, I'm going to trust him here, he just spaffs everywhere, and you just go, why did I bother? Draft Drake May.
If you're letting him go in any leagues that we're in, let's have a conversation. I'll take him. Speaking of Dak, he was in Ian's selection nightmare last week, and Dak was the right choice because it was Dak or Lamar, and Lamar didn't play, despite apparently training on Friday or not training, but they reported he trained on Friday that they're now in trouble for. So he didn't, he performed better than Lamar Jackson.
Well, yeah, there is that. So he has a good choice.
Smashed it, I'd say, Pete.
Who's yours this week, Ian?
Mine is a nightmare one.
That is the nightmare.
This is in the Warrior Bowl, and ironically, I've got this decision to make in 2 leagues. But in the other league, I've also got David Montgomery to choose from. So I'm leaning Montgomery unless either of you can put a case together for either of these two. And it's either Parker Washington versus the Raiders or Bill versus Seattle.
So I am completely out on Bill now. I'll just start with that. I was quite high on him at the start of the year, and I think he's had 2 good games, and then the last few weeks it's been under 5 points, not look good. He doesn't get the red zone work or anything like that. Parker Washington, the only thing with that is he is wide receiver 3 with the Jags, but he has become a very reliable target for Trevor Lawrence and someone that Trevor Lawrence can trust. So I'd lean Parker Washington on this one.
I agree. I think I think Bill's got a chance of having a better game this week. And I think a lot of that will depend on Jaden Daniels being back. Yeah, he's not been good for the last couple of weeks, but the Commanders haven't been good.
Front is
and that's why I wouldn't go with him, but I do think he will probably have a better game, and I would feel a bit more confident playing him than I have done, especially if Jaden Daniels is back, which makes a big difference, I think, because Jaden Daniels is back. They're going to be a little bit more competitive, and they're more likely to score touchdowns. But Washington seems to be one of Trevor Lawrence's favourite targets. I don't think the Raiders are particularly good. I don't know what's going on with Brian Thomas. I mean, there was even rumours about him being traded last week, which was ridiculous. And I think whilst Travis Hunter had a really big game against the Rams in London, it was all playing from behind. And I don't think there's been a game earlier this year. I don't got the stats in front of me, but there was a game earlier this year where they weren't playing from behind, where they had a bit of a lead, and he played a little bit more on defense. And I would expect the Jags to have a little bit more of a lead in this one. And then maybe Travis Hunter doesn't play as many as offensive snaps, and Parker Washington's it's him and Brian Thomas who are the 2 main targets. So I'd lean Washington.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'd play Montgomery over both of them, though.
Play Montgomery, yeah. Okay,
yeah.
Right, fine.
Yeah, I would play Monty over them both. Pete?
Right. Let's see if you can get mine right this week. Because last week it was Keenan Allen or Jalen Waddle, and you both told me to go with Keenan Allen, who only scored 8.4 when Jalen Waddle went for the best part of 21 points. So you non-Waddle believers on this podcast.
It wasn't a Waddle thing. It was a Tua thing.
I think
And a Waddle
because if we're honest, if we go back, you said last week was going to be McDaniels' last day.
I did. Got that massively wrong. But that part of that comes down to the Falcons, which we'll get to in a bit. So that's yeah. Well, we also thought Tua was playing with two eyes, and then when we found out he was only playing with one, didn't realise he was better with one. Yeah, so this week I am mine's a wide receiver versus tight end. So this is in a redraft league. It is a minor tight end premium league, which you need to bear in mind. So I think it's 0.5 point per reception for tight ends extra. So you need to bear that in mind. It's Keon Coleman against the Chiefs, who in his last 3 games has scored 6, 4, and 10 points, or Hunter Henry against the Falcons, who in his last 3 games has scored 7, 9, and 8. In fact, he failed to get to 8 points at the weekend, despite scoring a touchdown, which is pretty hard to do.
Yeah, one reception for a touchdown, wasn't it? I think
it was 1 for 7 yards, I think. Yeah. So in this league, he probably just got to 8 points. I'm sort of torn in that I still think Hunter Henry's going to have his games, and obviously the tight end premium thing makes me lean towards him. But Keon Coleman, I think he's due a big game as well, and the Bills Chiefs has all the potential of being. It usually is a high scoring. The Chiefs are playing really well. I think the Bills will have to score a lot of points to stick with them. So I don't know what to do.
Go on, H.
So my problem with Hunter Henry is there is more weapons slowly starting to show for the Patriots.
Plus, his quarterback's terrible.
I will leave the podcast.
It was like he didn't hear you, or he'd frozen for a second.
It was more in shock.
The shock.
Yeah. Don't get me started, because I love Drake now. So
he's actually playing really well. I was going to compliment you on that
QB2 on the air.
Show, and we got too carried away talking about Jonathan Taylor. But you were the first person way back when we were talking rookies before even the draft last year who was singing Drake May's praises and getting upset about somebody's mock draft, whose name I can't even remember at this point, but somebody had dropped him in a mock draft, and you were fully in the Drake May camp. So fair play to you.
Yeah. But I think the tight end premium is the big kicker here, and Keon Coleman hasn't done what we expected of him this year. He's not really had that breakout game. He's not really looked much better than he was last year. So although there is a lot more weapons for the Patriots, probably because Drake is slinging it about here, there, and everywhere, I'm still going to lean Hunter Henry, because I think he had a bad week last week, but I think he's better than that. And he will get more targets. He is a reliable target. So I'm going to lean Hunter Henry on the grounds of it is that 0.5 point premium.
Yeah, I mean, when you first sent this out to us, when I was doing the research for it, this has probably been the toughest one that either of you guys has sent over this year. Even though H came up with the disgusting one the other week. But Keon Coleman's averaging 9.1 points a game, but he did have that breakout game in week 1 where he scored 25.2. You can take that out, his average actually drops to 4.9, which is really disappointing, because we all thought it'd be better than this. And the Chiefs have only conceded 7 points in the last 2 games. So you've got to take that into account as well. The Chiefs D's looking really, really good. Granted, one of those was against the Raiders. Hunter Henry's averaging 10.1 points a game, but again, he's had a huge outlier with a 29-pointer against the Steelers in week 3. So if you take that out, his average drops to 7.4, which is still an improvement on Coleman's 4.9. Henry, however, is playing against the number 1 D versus tight ends in the Falcons, who are only giving up 15 yards a game to the position and only 1 touchdown all year. So Henry's only upside really lies in the PPR points and the tight end premium points. So I'm going to say Coleman, because the Falcons' D against tight ends is...
I think the breakout game in week 1 is the one that's making me lean slightly towards Coleman, because it was against the Ravens, and because it's Bills Chiefs, I'm like, I can see the same sort of thing happening. But thanks for not helping me. Stick that on socials here. Let's see what everyone else thinks.
Will do. Wrong one.
Absolutely.
The professionalism is still with us, lads, don't worry.
Yeah.
Even when we mess up, we make a point of making sure everyone knows we've messed up. So we can't just delete it afterwards.
To be fair, we laugh at each other's really bad takes. So laughing at it, like stuff like that is nothing, is it?
Yeah, when I fat finger a button, it's all jokes.
Yeah. Right. The ones to watch. We don't usually go back and talk about who we highlighted last week, but I am really interested to know how you thought Stafford did over his bye week.
So just on this, fantastic. He got a lot of rest, hydrated really well.
His garden looks great.
He did do a little bit in the garden, and he just chilled with his family. So really good week for him. Really impressed with him.
What's bigger now? Is it the gap that the Colts O-line broke in the Titans, or the distance that you have to stay away from Matt Stafford's home in LA?
It's pretty close. I'm not gonna lie, it is pretty close. I do actually have another one of these though, which I'll get onto in a. But yeah,
is it Baker Mayfield this week?
Yeah, it is. How did you? No, it's not. It's not a quarterback.
Who is your quarterback this week then?
Sam Darnold versus the Commanders. With someone that has an awful lot of Baker Mayfield and Justin Fields, I've been looking at and potentially picking up another quarterback in a couple of the leagues where it's. I've not got them both in the same league, but and Sam Darnold's one that kind of jumps out a little bit to me. So he's had 2 bad weeks. But he's averaging 16 points. If you take out those 2 bad weeks, he's closer to 20, which is quite good for a quarterback. And he's coming off the bye week, so potentially going to be a little bit healthier. I'm not saying that he wasn't healthy, but you normally have a good performance after a bye week. So I'm leaning Sam Darnold this week.
Ian?
I'm going with JJ McCarthy against the Lions. Carson Wentz is finished for the season, and even if he wasn't, JJ would be starting anyway, as Wentz has generally been terrible. And the Vikings desperately need something to kickstart the season now. They're playing against the Lions, who are 10th worst against QBs, averaging 232 passing yards and 2 TDs a game. Favourable matchup for JJ to come back into. Add into the fact that the Lions are likely to score heavily, and that the Vikings' run game of Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason is just shocking. It's a game where McCarthy could be coming back and carrying the team with his arm.
Yeah, I was on McCarthy. Mine was there's only one quarterback for me this week, and it's JJ McCarthy, because I was just like, I wonder whether they wanted to go back to him, but Carson Wentz was like running on absolute nothing last week. He was running on empty completely. I felt a little bit for him at points in that game. I was like, surely you've got someone else you can throw in. He's like a lion to the slaughter. I do worry about JJ McCarthy though, because he didn't look great before he went, before he sort of had that little break. And I don't think
he did have a little spell, didn't he, where he had, I think it was like maybe 1 or 2 quarters where I think he was on 2 points and jumped to 20 points. But I do like the selection, boys.
Coming back at the Detroit Lions is probably not where I would choose to make my return if I was JJ McCarthy. But divisional game, so anything can happen.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I'm guessing one of you two will have picked my running back as well. So let's see.
Well, you go first then. So you get.
I've gone with Tyrone Tracy. So with obviously the big injury of the weekend, and just for reference, Red Zone, no need to show the replay. Like those of us who saw it the first time didn't need to see it a second time, and those who hadn't seen it didn't need to see it at all. So you don't need to show the replay.
Yeah, his leg's the other way round, but we'll show it again. Yeah, cheers. It looks like a really nasty injury. What gives that away? Is it the fact that his foot is closer to his arse than his other foot, like the floor? Like, it just, it winds me up. Just don't show them. There's no point.
I didn't think it was that bad.
But I've not looked at the numbers, but I did notice David Singletary was in there getting a couple of touches. So it'd be interesting to see if that's a bit of a shared committee or whether they are just going to go Tyrone Tracy. Because whilst the Giants aren't great, Jackson Dart has at least made them competitive.
Interesting. Yeah.
In game, he's keeping them in game. So I think Tyrone Tracy could be interesting the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Have you got Tyrone Tracy as well, H?
I've got a few.
You've got okay.
Right. The one to watch.
The one to watch. I've got several.
Well, no, it's just in case I needed a spare one.
All right, okay, fair enough then. I like it. Well, mine is my boy DeAndre Swift.
Okay.
Playing against the Bengals, ranked dead last against running backs, allowing 132 yards a game and a TD. Should be one of the highest scoring games of the season for my boy Swift. So I'm excited to see him play and destroy us. Again, I said it before, our front four without Hendrickson, worst in the league. Hendrickson's injured with a hip stinger, might be missing the game, he's questionable. And this goes back to before the season started, because I had DeAndre Swift in my top 10 running backs, and he's currently 11.
I've never seen somebody so excited about a running back taking their team apart. So.
Well, other than H and Derrick Henry destroying the Texans for 200 yards a game.
Odd.
But yeah,
he didn't do it. He didn't do it though.
No, he didn't. A big week for DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift can do wonders for my preseason prediction.
H.
I've gone with Tyjae Spears, which is a little bit of a wild one, but this week he took over 50% of the snaps, which is obviously more than Tony Pollard did. I think Pollard was down at about 40%. But it's not just that, it's the fact that Tyjae Spears actually did something with the opportunities. So he carried the ball for, I think it was 20 yards more than Pollard, even though Pollard had more carries. And he was also involved heavily in the run game. It's just one kind of to watch. I think he could be. I could see him taking over the Titans' backfield, which doesn't sound great. But if you're kicking around for someone to potentially step up, it could be someone that you may have to waver in, and he could do a job.
I don't disagree with you, except for the fact that I think they're exactly like the Panthers. They're basically a mirror image of the Panthers in that neither of them are useful until one of them gets injured, and then they become all four of those players are more than capable of putting up fantasy numbers, just not with the other one in the teammate in the backfield. The teammate needs to be in the treatment room.
I do like that pick though, because the Titans have now got the new interim head coach, and he might want Tyjae Spears to be more of an RB1 rather than a split backfield now.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad choice. That
possible.
There was one other that I did want to mention, which is Kyle Monanganai, who is the backup to Swift. His snap count has gone up. So it was around 20%. It's now up to 40%. So it seems that it's getting a more split backfield. I know the week before he got more reps purely on the game situation, and they took Swift out of the game. But it's one to monitor, and then the other is keep your eye on the running back situation with the Browns, because if Quidjon Junkins does have a
they want to buy this week.
I know, but keep your eye on it because it's worth picking up.
Are you going to keep your eye on something that's not happening?
Well, if Junkins goes down for a few weeks, you can pick up Dylan Sampson free of charge.
Very quickly, wide receivers. I've got Christian Watson. 4 targets, 4 catches, and 85 yards on his return was more than I expected. Be interesting to see if they kind of go right. There's no Jaden Reed. Let's lean on him. I don't think will. They'll keep leaning on Tucker Kraft because he's class. But I think there's enough there to go around. So that's my wide receiver.
Go on. How many have you got?
I've got another Titan. I don't know why I've gone all Titans. I've gone Shimmer DK, who had 8 targets. He went to 89% of snaps with no Tyler Lockett and no Calvin Ridley. Seems to have worked his way up the depth chart. So hopefully there's something going there. But my number 1 was Christian Watson as well, who is only rostered in 15% of rosters. So that was my number 1. I had a number 2.
Making a point. I don't think his name's going to come up again on this podcast, but I'm making a point. There's no way that's pronounced DK. It's Dyke. They can call it whatever they want. It's DIKE. Dyke.
Yeah. If that D was a B, how would you say it? It's bike.
BK.
My wide receiver is Quentin Johnston, because I think we might be at the end of the road for Johnston's fantasy season after 0 points against the Vikings this week. We're all high on him. He started the season with 24, 19, 14, and 23. He's regressed back to what we expected of him last season when he was struggling. What's more concerning is that he was only on the field for just over half the snaps, whereas Trey Harris had more involvement. I know he didn't. Ridiculous. I think the Chargers seem to be signalling a shift towards Trey Harris and away from Johnston. But what's concerning is that the trade deadline is looming. The Chargers are full of receivers. Johnston may find himself playing somewhere else. Yeah, unless he can make a case this week for staying.
I think there was one really interesting fact that someone put out there that last season, Lad McConkey, after 5 weeks, was on a similar fantasy points and then went off, and it was similar. Quentin Johnson was up there and just plummeted. So it seems like it's a weird pattern that happens.
Yeah, I think this might be his last week in fantasy rosters.
Tight end?
Right. I haven't got a record of who your tight end was last week.
It was. Well, I have.
It's Jatavion Sanders, wasn't it?
It was Jatavion Sanders who went 3 of 3 for 19 yards and finished as tight end 33. But I did say it was a wild one because it was National Tight End Day, and
he didn't get. You mean he didn't get a touchdown on National Tight End Day?
He didn't.
They all got touchdowns.
But if you watch the game, you'll understand why. Because Andy Dalton was just horrific.
He wasn't that good.
So this week I am on Juwan Johnson versus the Rams. I know my slide says it's uncertainty at QB. I've just announced in the last hour or so that it's going to be Tyler Shook playing at QB for the Saints this week. But now he's got the nod. He'll want to do his best to keep hold of the job, and the big man in the slot is a massive safety blanket for whoever's playing QB. He had a bit of a lull in weeks 4 to 6, but last week he had 8 targets. The week before he had 7, so his volume is on the increase back to what it was at the start of the season, and I would expect that to go up again this week against the Rams. Adding to the fact that the Saints, they're doing nothing on the ground at all. Alvin Kamara is finished. You'd be glad to know, Pete, officially finished.
I was the lead in that. I was ahead of the curve on that.
Where Devin Neal doesn't look much of a muchness. So I think we're going to be back to spamming Juwan Johnson this week.
Good show. I like it. Kicker?
I've gone with Harrison Butker because he's got a tough matchup. It's a huge game. I think both the Bills and the Chiefs will want to move the ball, but both defenses are playing quite well, which makes it the kickers quite a key to the victory on this one. He's kicker number 14 on the season with, and although he's missed 3 field goals, I think he is due a big game because he does have some big games, especially in these tight matchups. So I've gone Harrison Butker this week.
I like that.
My kicker last week got 14 points as well.
It's a good shout. Dick the kicker was a good shout last week.
It was, yeah. Mine was not a good shout last week. I went with the Atlanta Falcons, and I'll apologize that you got 0 points because Tua took them apart. One-eyed Tua took them apart. So I would like to apologize to everybody who listened to that because I started last week's pod by basically saying who are the Falcons, and I'm not even sure the Falcons know who they are, and they're like up and down team, and then went on to back them to do something. So that's on me. So I apologize to everyone. So who took my advice? Because I had the Falcons in many leagues, and they did me absolutely no good whatsoever. This week, I'm going with a bit more of a proven defense. I'm going the LA Rams against your Juwan Johnson Saints, because mainly for that reason. Tyler Shoug's coming in. Tyler Shough played more than 50% of the snaps at the weekend, so they got rid of Rattler earlier than I think generally people think, and Tyler Shough came in and did absolutely nothing. So I've got no confidence that he's going to be able to go to LA on his first start and put up anything against what is a really, really good defense. And I think it was between them and the Lions, and where I think where JJ McCarthy might do a slightly better job is I think he might be coached a little bit better to not give the ball away a little bit. Whereas I think Tyler Shough will be in there trying to prove a point, and will be throwing the ball around and giving up a couple of picks. So I'm going Rams for week 9.
Nice.
Right. Week 9. Thursday night football kicks off with Ravens at Dolphins.
This is one game I am not getting up for.
Are a 7.5.
Just going to throw it out there now. I am
Ravens.
not getting up for this one.
I don't know. Like I quite like the look of this one.
Yeah, this could be a good game. I mean, I'm not going to go for it. I'm away this week. I'm away in York with the family, so I won't be getting up for it. But it's a game that I will definitely watch back. I think the Ravens will win it.
Well,
the
the
Ravens
7.5
are
point
still
favourites.
massively battered, though. Their injury record this year is definitely the worst, and it's been bad again.
I'll tell you, the only reason I would consider getting up for it is I reckon within a quarter you'll know whether it's going to be a good game or not. Because if the Dolphins come out like they came out at the weekend, but if they come out and go like 3 and out twice, I think I will go back to bed. Because the Dolphins start fast, they're going to play well, and if Tua just continues that form from the weekend into Thursday night, great. They're back at home, everything's good. But if Lamar plays and they come out stuttering, this game will be over, and they'll keep feeding Derrick Henry the ball. They'll dominate possession, and I can't really see the Dolphins climbing back into it. So it won't be worth losing sleep over. We talked a little bit about Texans, Broncos at Texans, 6:00 Sunday. Tough game, makes it a bit easier. It's at your place. You are actually a slight favourite, 1.5 point favourite, which surprised me. But
we were 1.5 points favourite against San Francisco last week, and we destroyed them. So no, I think this is a real tough game. I think Bo Nix looked brilliant this week. I know he was going up against an absolutely awful Cowboys defense, but he still looked quality. The run game helped, but he just seemed to pick his player and swing it in there. So tough defense, really tough defensive battle. I think both teams' strength lies in the defense. So I think it'll be a defensive battle. I just hope we can build on what we did last week and stop what they did last week. It'll be a good game, though, I think.
How are you feeling about the Texans now and the hopes for the season?
Still the same as last week, really. We will have one good game, we'll have one bad game. I think there's no consistency to the offense. I think we need to get that going. If we can get the offense just ticking a little bit, our defense will win us games. It's one of them where I realistically we've got to look at it now and go, the wild card spot is our way into the playoffs, because what are you now, 6-1? 7-1, like we're 3-4. So yeah, we're 3-4 because we started 0-3. So for us to get into the playoffs, we're going to have to go via the wild card spot. Realistically, we've not got the best of schedules coming up either, so we've got some big games to win. I think the Broncos would be a big catalyst for us. But I'm still optimistic that it can get going, but I'm not seeing enough for me to be confident.
Yeah, we're 7-1, and AD Mitchell's got a lot to answer for. We should be, well, should. With the other games, we arguably shouldn't have beaten the Broncos earlier in the year, but bloody Mitchell. Speaking of the Colts, we are at the Steelers. We are 3 points favourites at the Steelers. Assuming everybody wants the Colts to win this week, so the Steelers.
Absolutely, yeah.
I keep expecting Daniel Jones to have a game, and I'm going to say it every week. You expect him to have that sort of 3 interception game, and you kind of go, you look at the Steelers and go, well, that's the sort of defense that could do it. But by all accounts, they were ripped apart by Jordan Love on Sunday night. So just don't think it's the same team. Or by all the stats sort of show that we should still be able to put up numbers there, and if we can keep our offense going, then they shouldn't be able to handle. It shouldn't be able to hang with us.
I think one of the big keys is your offensive line will limit the amount of pressures that the Steelers. I mean, your offensive line is brilliant, so I think you carry on that way. I think it'll be a tough game for the Steelers, but it doesn't mean to say that the Steelers can't potentially cause a bit of a weird upset, but it would be an upset.
That's nice in itself. Just to be 3-point favourite and everyone
just to be a favourite,
yeah, just to be a favourite.
Yeah, it must be nice.
And you've already talked about it a bit, Ian, but Bears at Bengals, other than DeAndre Swift running for 350 yards, is there
Caleb Williams going for 270 and 4 passing touchdown is going to be epic.
Right. Firstly, there is no chance that Caleb Williams is doing that. They're going to win, but they're going to get 300 yards on the ground.
Caleb Williams is going to rush for 5 of them.
He might get a ton of him. He might get 100 of them.
Is Flacco all right?
He's questionable, but he's going to be okay.
Right.
It's just a vet day.
Otherwise, it's Jameis time, isn't it? Like how many QBs can we go through in a season?
The Bears are an interesting team because I've seen a few people make this point on commentary that they seem to have their first scripted 15 plays. They look like a really good team, and then once they get through them, and then later into they get into the second quarter and then the second half, it's just not as smooth. It just falls apart a little bit. He doesn't seem to be able to do it for 4 quarters. So.
Well, that might work then, because if their offense falls apart at the same time as our defense does in the fourth quarter, then we've got a chance.
Maybe that's it. Maybe you need to go behind. Just go behind and then come back. Come fighting back.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Let them take their foot off the pedal before you do. You've got the offense to keep up with them. I fancy the Bengals this weekend. But then I probably fancied the Bengals last weekend. I think I have more confidence in the Bengals than you do.
God, I've lost the words to describe how bad it is.
Sunday Night Football, Seahawks at Commanders. Seahawks are 3.5-point favourite. If we're assuming Jaden Daniels is back, the Commanders are running out of time a little bit in terms of. I think I saw that somebody else had put that on socials today. I think what are they 3-5? The Commanders. So you can't lose many more if you want to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
No, you can't. But they're definitely going to lose this one.
I have to say, Seattle look a real good team this year. I have to agree with Ian. I think Seattle look a really, really good side. The Commanders, I don't know whether it's the injuries to Daniels or whether there's just something missing. Probably, I think they should have invested in the run game. This committee just isn't working. They put in too much pressure on Daniels, and then realistically, they got Debo, but they didn't. With the money that they had available to them in cap space, I would have liked them to go out and get somebody like a big wide receiver. I know there wasn't much out there. But
letting Brian Robinson go.
it seems
I don't know what happened. I don't know what
move.
happened there, but it's really starting to look like a stupid move, that, as opposed to just, I don't know what the issue was.
Yeah.
But they could really do with a Brian Robinson right now, couldn't they? So that's looking like one of the dafter moves that an NFL team has made this year. And then finally, Monday Night Football looks like a load of fun. Cards at Cowboys. The over and under is 75 points. I don't know what it is, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was 70 points. The Cowboys are 2.5 point favorite at home. I think they cover that because I just think the Cardinals, whilst I like the Cardinals, I don't think they've got quality. They don't have the play calling to be able to keep up with that. They will try and limit what the Cowboys do and try and limit what they do, as opposed to going out there and just going, we need to turn this into a shootout and see if we can outscore the Cowboys and force Dak into a mistake somewhere along the line.
No, I think the Cowboys have got the talent and the roster to go and do that. I think they'll cover it.
I do. I think the Cardinals are really struggling without the run game. With James Conner, Trey Benson, they don't look the same, and I am just over Kyler Murray at this point as well. Sorry, Pete. I know you love Kyler.
I'd stand by the fact that it's not all on him, but that's not me defending him in any way. I think he can play better and needs to play better. He's one of those frustrating quarterbacks that has enough games across the season that makes you go, well, there's a player in there, but it's all about quarterback play is all about consistency. And if you can't put up the consistent numbers, you're never going to be a top QB, are you? So, and he doesn't do it consistently. Right, the touchdown treble for last week. Dallas Goedert got into the end zone.
It.
Twice.
DK Metcalf got into the end zone. And Cortland Sutton technically got into the end zone, and then it got called back for a holding penalty. And I was like, give it over. So
that's as close as we've been.
Troy Franklin.
No, the week before I killed us with you two, got 6 touchdowns, didn't you, the week before? And I didn't get one.
The second week on the trot that we've got 2 out of 3. But Troy Franklin got 2, and I think somebody else got 1.
RJ Harvey got 2.
RJ Harvey got a receiving one, as well as a couple of rushing touchdowns. So Bo Nix threw 3 touchdowns. So my thought process was sound. He just went to the wrong players. Who are we going with in week 9?
I'm doubling down on DeAndre Swift.
Fair, like it.
He's nailed on.
Oh dear, your faith in your team is as bad as mine.
No, it's more my faith in DeAndre Swift.
Yeah. I've gone Josh Jacobs versus the Panthers. I think he had a bad week this week, Jacobs. I think he'll have a big bounce back.
Well, I'm going, and I'm going to call mine as a first half touchdown. I'm going Travis Hunter to build on his performance last week, coming out of the bye, possibly even first quarter, before he then goes and plays defense for the second half and for the Jags. But I think he will come out flying out of the bye. So I'm going Travis Hunter at the Raiders.
Okay, that's an interesting one.
And we've got about 60 seconds to spare. Never done that before.
I know, yeah.
What do you want to talk about? How are you? Have you checked any of your best balls? I feel like at some point this week, now we're 8 weeks in, I need to check all my best balls. Does anybody know how? And this is going out to the whole world. Does anyone know if I can check sleeper leagues that I've archived without unarchiving them?
Oh no, I don't think you can. Why would you want to?
Well, because I archived all my best ball leagues so that my scrolling didn't go on forever.
Oh,
why didn't you just put all your best balls to the bottom of the bottom of the list?
To archive them. It's like I don't need them, do I?
So, does anyone remember last year at the end of the season, Sleeper were putting out polls for like suggestions on how they can improve the app, And my suggestion was let's have tabs. So we can have a tab for redraft and we can have a tab for Dynasty and we can have a tab for best ball. And there's a few people on Twitter went, that's a great idea. What have Sleeper done with it? Fuck all.
I would
They
imagine.
reviewed it.
Thanks for wasting my time, Sleeper.
Yeah. They probably looked at it and went, that is a massive
Too big
software
a job.
overhaul.
Yeah.
We're not doing that. We were looking
let's have tabs. Just let's have tabs.
We were looking for something easy that we can change and go, look at this big change we've made. That's really complicated. So I like it though. They're always looking to develop the app. Maybe next year.
Fingers crossed. I will take all the credit for it though.
Yeah, hopefully they can change the colour scheme as well or like have a different colour scheme theme that you could add in.
Give you a different option. Right.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening and watching. As always, follow us on socials at JMD Pod, at JMD Podcast on TikTok, and like, subscribe, and share on YouTube. We appreciate it, and we'll see you next week.